Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male, and a big happy 4th of July to all you guys around the country. Hope you have a great day today with the grilling and the pool and the fireworks and the booze. Just be careful with the fireworks and the booze, otherwise you end up in the ER. So for today, I'm going to do a very entertaining post titled, "I'll Never Date a Single MOM Again." Explanation. And guys, this post really hits the nail on the head exactly why the majority of guys out there that have experience and have a brain do not get involved with, and certainly not even date, the single MOMs. And why is that? Well, because generally it's a never-ending supply of problems. And the very likely case is you as a guy are being used. Not to mention by a gal who has a history of very bad choices when it comes to men. And this guy here, unfortunately, has learned the hard way of why he does of dating multiple single MOMs. It's not like he's learned the first couple times, but finally he's done. And goes through this whole thing, talking about the first few, but really hitting home on the last one. And what the interesting thing always is they obviously have the baby daddies who are usually low lives. The guys come in, and they try to be good to the moms and the kids, and they're totally taken advantage of. With their time, their emotions, their money, and then they oftentimes cheat and go back to the baby daddy, and it's a mess, and they're back again, and round you go. Now, of course, not all are like this. I've known and know a few single MOMs that are really, they try hard, they do well, they're good people, but still, they can bring the headaches to guys that get involved with them, and it's just not worth it. So if you got a guy who likes drama, you're bored, you need that drama in your life, then go ahead and date the single MOMs, particularly the younger ones that you can just tell have a little crazy. If their name's Jessica, she's definitely crazy. If you look at her eyes and she's like AOC or some of those other ones out there, and you see the crazy eyes, oh, you're going to get your drama. But otherwise, you want peace and relaxation. At least date the ones that don't have kids. And of course, if you date them and they bait and switch and down the road you find out they actually have kids, you have every right to walk away. So I'm going to go through this one, guys. This definitely will hit home with some of you because I know some of you definitely have dated or been in relationships and learned the hard way. And at the end of this, you'll get a good laugh, and this will reinforce why so many guys not only are not getting involved with the single MOMs, but they're also, after all this, avoiding dating relationships altogether. And who can blame them? So it starts off saying, been there, done that, 4 times to be exact. Never effing again. Ever. Let me also stipulate, the kids were never the reason for the breakup, the mothers were. Well, right there, that says it all. Now, before you blow a lid on how I'm hateful towards the single MOMs, allow me to elaborate. He says, there are good mothers out there who are doing their best to provide for their kids, as they should. Many had to take drastic steps to get away from a very bad situation. He doesn't say bad, he says something else, but I gotta watch what I say here. Right, I agree with that. But you see, what led those moms to guys like that? They're chasing the bad boys, the a-holes. And then now they find their nice guys to, make up for things, and guess what? Still, they're dealing with that a-hole in their life. That being said, not blaming anyone, this is just an observation. Many girls who became the single MOMs were making appealingly bad judgment calls in the face of obvious red flags. They chose to ignore them, and very often they thought the kids will make things better. Shocker, the kids made it worse. What bad judgment calls could we be talking about here? I don't know, getting involved with Chad and Tyrone, the bad boys, the criminals, and all that. When plenty of good guys out there liked them, nope, they weren't interested in them. There's a high percentage of women who tried to baby trap a guy, and often it even worked for a while until it did not. One of my exes tried to pull that one on me. She failed. I figured her out and promptly broke it off with her. The first poor bastard she spread her legs for, surprise, gets her knocked up, and now she's a single MOM. I'm not even going to get into the baby daddy drama. There's plenty of that to make one's life exciting if you date a single mom. Short of her being a widow, her ex is there somewhere. Very often, sparks are still flying, and if she sees a chance to give it another go with him, of course, she will dump the backup guy, you. Been there too, it didn't work out, she wanted back, and I told her no way. Well, good for him. Yeah, guys, things don't work out with the baby daddy, they find the nice guy. Or just decent guy. But then if things look like they can work out with the other guy, boom, they're dumping you. The first single MOM I dated had a friendly relationship with the ex, because of the child. Of course, at the time, when I was young and stupid in my early 20s, I did not see it coming. She was still having you-know-what with the ex because, according to her, it was amazing and sex was never the problem. He's seeing her and she's still hooking up with the other guy? There you go. Long story short, she decided to give it a go. She broke it off with me. They broke up not even a year later, and she wanted to come back, and I said no. They always come back. They'll always cheat on the good guy to get back with the bad boy, and of course things don't work out. The second and third single MOMs turned out to be very jealous, possessive, and manipulative, and one of them turned out to be a stalker. I even had to file a police report on her. Later, I learned the whole family was psycho. Both brothers are in jail, one for offing a family member in their village just because. She was just some psycho level 2. Well, there you go. This is why you vet your girl before dating them, getting into a relationship with them. You date them to vet them, you know. Always check out her family and her friends. Their daughters were turning into giant F-ups in their own right, thanks to their mothers, and a never-ending revolving door of potential daddies. There was more, but suffice to say, I bolted very quickly after the true colors came out when they thought they had their claws in me. Well, good for him. It is also a never-ending cycle. You have these wacko gals. They have kids. They're terrible mothers. It's a big, giant mess. CPS is involved. The police are involved and all that. And then next thing you know, those kids eventually do the same thing and generation after generation. It's amazing. Now, the last one, who I thought was the exception to the rule, F me sideways, I was wrong. Of course you're wrong. For 2 years, driving 5 hours once a month to spend time with her and the daughter I took on as my own. After some adjustment period, she started to grow close to me too. I was learning their native language, Russian, so I can talk with the child, at the time 6 years old. I think at this point this guy deserves a very good smack upside the head for keep doing the same thing and get involved with the same type of women. You know, anybody can make a mistake once, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again, like in this guy's case, getting involved with the same type of women. At this point, then, one has to question this guy just like drama. Seriously. But he's saying he's done. The woman I was dating, she had been married to an Arab man who turned out to be abusive as you-know-what. And the moment they got married, she had to flee the country to get away from him. I thought she was a good mom, and she's a very educated woman, which I like. Smart always turned me on. Well, fast forward, after a truckload of money, I sank into the relationship. With time and logistics and emotions, she came out in May 2 years later, when I came there after a long drive. That we should take a break, and that I'm supposed to contact her on September 16th of that year. The exact date was a bit odd. I think when he said when she came out, she didn't mean she came out as being, liking women, she just came out with this information. So she expects this guy to just drop everything he's doing and sit in the corner and wait for her and get back to her on September 16th. After all this time he spent with her and the kid and putting money in the relationship. See? But again, this guy was a bonehead, and at least he knows this. After I pressed her a bit, she told me that she started chatting with a guy she was talking to when we met. I knew then and there she wanted to have a go with him to see how it turned out, and it will not work out. I'm in her backup plan. I was not 20 at the time and stupid anymore. I was in my 30s. Well, you were stupid, But there you go. What was she doing? She's monkey branching. Can I find a better provider? Even though this guy's been great to me, great to my kid, blah, blah, blah. Nope. You're just a pawn, guys, to be used. And end of story. You're a tool. I told her that's her choice. I will leave the next day since I do not want to fall asleep behind the wheel. She asked me to stay the planned days for her daughter's sake, and I conceded. Smack! Of course you did. Now, it's not the kid's fault, but still, you should have left. After I left, I had no plan of contacting her ever again. I got very close to her daughter, and it pained me for the child because I just saw how stupid and immature the mother is. I care for the mother too, obviously. At the end of the day, you got to take care of you, man. No white knight makes it without being completely damaged. I was ready to quit my job and move closer and make us a real family. Smack! Why can't she move to you? Why are you going to her? That shows she has all the power. We even talked about it extensively. I guess she still wanted to test the waters and keep me as backup, given my desires. That's what happens to every nice guy out there. You are the backup. End of story. A few months ago, 10 years later, she sniffed me out again. 10 years later, she's back, huh? She said she wanted to talk to me and tell me I was right about everything. Well, he was right about her and the type of guy she was with. Apparently, she had 2 disastrous relationships with very bad guys. Shocker. That she was desperate to get pregnant again just because. The second guy, who did not want a baby, bolted when he found out about the kid. I guess she tried to baby trap him. So she remembered me. She was pregnant at the time. She started with a typical down the memory lane type of conversation and how great we had with BS and my daughter misses you, pathetic attempts at manipulation. See? They always come back. I told her that every decision she made was based on her appalling judgment and idiotic immaturity. She can have 10 PhDs and she will continue to make stupid relationship decisions, and it's clear that she has a type. I also add that I have a type 2, which is very far from the likes of her. Good he said that. Guys, I've known a lot of women who are intelligent. They have degrees, they have professional jobs, do very well, and they have their shit together on multiple fronts. But when it comes to men, they are the biggest morons. They behave just like teenage girls. You can kind of understand teenage girls because they're teenage girls and their brains are developing and they have no life experience. But when you have someone in their 30s and 40s behaving like that, when it comes to guys, it's amazing to me. It's all about the thrills, the attention and validation, the butterflies. I mean, I can go on and on here. He goes on, it might sound harsh, but it was time for somebody to tell her. Well, good for you. After she took a break from me, I swore I would stop dating the single MOMs. Oh, they tried to get into my life, though. I was curious, but it was a no for me from the beginning. Well, good for him. He finally learned after many, many bad examples and experiences. The most hilarious thing, though, is they were offended. How can I not be dating them since they are so awesome? And after they agreed to a date, not revealing that they are mothers, knowing I do not get involved with the single MOMs, and they brought their kids onto a date, thinking that their cuteness would change my mind. Guys, if you're out with a woman, you're out for her, and probably because either you want to get laid or you want to build something, a relationship and all that. And if she brings the kid along, really? But only the nicest guys would stick around. Most guys that watch this would be like, no, turn around and walk out the door. Says here, excuse me, but you lied to me and are trying to manipulate me from the start. Now you have the gall to be offended when I walk away. That's the funny thing, is they get mad when you turn them down. There are exceptions to the rule, but I haven't met one yet. The time, effort, even money, yes, money you put into somebody else could be huge. Just to learn down the line, they always have an agenda. Their inability to understand how a relationship with a grown man, one with a child, are different in nature. This, incidentally, is one of the many reasons why they are single moms. I know mothers who are in love with their sons. Yes, actually in love, and are filling an emotional gap with their kids, turning them into spoiled, privileged future a-hole adults. Yes, and a lot of times that situation, the sons become like the son husband. I know a lot of people don't like that. I've heard this before, but it's the freaking truth. And a lot of moms that I've noticed nowadays, really, they want to make their kids their best friend, instead of actually being a good parent, and they wonder why their kids are screwed up. But frankly, I think these moms are smart enough to realize, well, if they're kind of screwed up or not really prepared for the tough world, then they're always going to need me, and I'm always going to have them around. It's so selfish. Not to mention, if you give guidance to a child, which is not yours, you'll be shut down. Because that is not your child, and how dare you tell a child what to do? Please wash your hands before the meal and things like that. Yes, that's the funny part. If you're involved with someone, a single mom, and there's a kid involved, you get to have a say. But the problem is they don't like that. You don't tell my kid what to do. Oh yeah? Well, I'm here spending time with you and your kid. I'm spending money that one way or another your kid benefits from. So if your kid is being a little shit, I'm going to say something and the kid's going to listen. Otherwise, I'm out of here. Nope. They're the ones that correct the kid. But the thing is, they don't correct the kid, a lot of them. It very quickly becomes clear that very often the guy who left, bolted I should say, was the mother's true colors. It's not always the man's fault, but everyone automatically sides with the single mom. The truth is somewhere in between. Single moms are no heroes. Very often they have themselves to blame for being the single moms because of their deeply idiotic judgment calls. Well, now don't get me wrong, there are times where you can have a nice girl that gets involved with a guy and she really didn't see his true colors and he turned out to be a piece of garbage. It can happen. Then in that case, she got away from him, and hopefully she's learned. But a lot of times these gals, they know who they're getting involved with. They know who gets them pregnant, and they keep going back to that same type of guy. The bad judgment calls. You don't feel bad for them. And you have to watch out for them, guys. The only ones I'll sympathize with are in situations are kids. They get screwed over and screwed up. Yes, I do feel bad for these kids. But it's not my job, or your job, or this guy's job to be the one to save them. We got to take care of ourselves, guys. My lessons in dating single MOMs are emotionally shattering and expensive. Yes, I am mentioning money because you are investing in the family, which is not yours. Oh, and please, single MOMs out there, cut the crap with the "I have my money. I do not need it from a man I date." BS. Seriously, if a guy's invested in the relationship, he will contribute one way or another, and you effing know it. Yeah, you have the whole, I don't need his money and blah, blah. Well, then why do you have a guy? You're going to use the money anyway, and he's going to be a babysitter. Many did not reveal that they had kids until they thought I was too far along to walk away. Ding, ding, ding. Knowing I'm not interested in children anymore, not even having my own. They turn very quickly, very nasty when you break it off with them after learning about the kids. Yes, guys, how many of you had situations like that? You heard stories where guys were seeing a woman for a little while, and then she lets them know that she has a kid. Why? Because she wants, just like he said, to get roped in. And an attachment. That's the best way to describe an attachment to her, or attachment to the pussy, if she's good looking and young enough. And then a lot of guys won't walk away. That's a bait and switch. You have a right to walk away. And then they get mad at you for doing that, like you're doing some kind of cardinal sin or something. I have no patience or desire to risk it yet again. Too much drama, too many lies, hidden agendas, and attempts at manipulation just to get somebody to fix their bad decisions. I prefer to enjoy life to its fullest. If that means staying single, so be it. I have nothing against the kids. However, with the pandemic of single moms, there are just too many out there to lay all the blame on men for leaving. But hey, keep on blaming it on us. We are used to it by now. That was really good. I mean, again, like I said, I don't normally do Reddit, on this channel at least, but that hit the nail right on the head. You know, so there's a reason out there that so many guys are avoiding them. All this type of crap. It's not worth it. I want you guys to really have a pleasant, enjoyable life. Not bring drama into it. Because Lord knows, enough drama is going to come into our lives naturally, because that's just how life is. Shit happens. But then bringing people in your life that are going to cause that. And again, if that makes you out to be the bad guy, so be it. I don't think most of you care at this point. So guys, you do relationships and dating, pick the ones that don't have the kids. Again, it's nothing against the kids, but you just don't need that crap. And if you're seeing a woman for a little while, and it turns out she has a kid, and it's not what you want, you have every reason to walk away. Don't feel bad about it. And you'll get the shaming tactics from her and her friends, anybody else, your freaking cousin, your sister, anybody, any other females you know. Don't fall for it. Or the likelihood is going to be like that. Now, again, like I said before, not all are like this, but even the good ones, you're going to have some headaches. So you can go from the psychos to just the headaches. So, but that's you. And you know what? I got to say this, and I've said this a couple times before. The only exception I think one could make is if you're older, guys, you're like in your 40s, definitely your 50s, and you met a woman who you click with, and she's divorced. She is a single mom. However, don't freak out. The kids are adults, and they are out of the house. They're on to their own lives, and she's actually raised them right, you know, and they're doing their own thing. That's a little different. Then maybe you could test the waters just a little bit to explore the dynamic, again, if she's cool. But this isn't going to be guys that are in their 20s. This is going to be guys I'm talking to are probably my age, late 40s and 50s and up. There's a difference there. But beyond that, don't waste your time. Believe me, somebody else, some sucker, some one night will come along and do that, and he'll be the next guy writing this type of post. Anyway, guys, I thought it'd be a very good one to cover here, really making the point. Got to do with these refreshers every now and again. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let's hear about your experiences with the dates or relationship with the single MOMs. I'd like to hear about that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.